Inland Sports.
And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show. He is the new head boys basketball coach at Redlands High School, one of the all-time greats for the Terriers, head coach Joey Sponheim. And Coach Sponheim, first off, congrats on the RHS gig. I mean, you're a Terrier through and through. Is it just feel like it was destiny? It was natural to be at RHS and come full circle and be the head coach at the varsity level?
Yeah. It's funny when you say that. I have a few friends that I went to high school with, and they all say that this was destined to happen. The prophecy is completed. But no, I'm very excited, very ecstatic. I thank my athletic director, Eric Memory, and the administration for giving me the opportunity. And we're looking forward to bringing a lot of new things and kind of build a great program at RHS.
I'm curious, because you're an RHS grad, you start at the U of R, you were coaching at RHS, and now you're the head basketball coach at the varsity level. At what point in your career did you think, okay, I want to be, a head coach so I can have my own program? I mean, even as a player in the back of your mind where you're like, man, I'm going to coach one day. I'd love to coach back here at RHS. That'd be like my dream job. But did you always want to be a coach?
Yeah. Not always. When I was at Redlands High School, I played there from 2011 to 2015. It didn't really kind of hit me until I really got to college. I played under legendary coach Jim Ducey at the University of Redlands, and he taught a whole other aspect of the game that I didn't really realize and I didn't understand. And so I learned a lot there at the University of Redlands, and it really got me thinking like, oh, this stuff's really interesting. This stuff is what I'm passionate about. And it's something that I had success in. And so I started thinking about that. I'd always kind of thought about being a teacher. And so I realized that a good way to be a varsity head coach was to kind of continuing that teaching route. And so, here we are today. And I wouldn't say I always thought about it, but the way I think about it now, it sounds pretty good. So,
yeah, because, not a lot of basketball coaches get to go back to where they used to play, and get a chance to coach and stay in your hometown. And you even played, collegiately here in your hometown. I mean, you must love Redlands, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, if my college teammates see this, they're going to laugh because they used to always call me the hometown hero. And yeah. So no, it is special though. I do love this place. There's no denying that. Had a great experience at Redlands High School, my 4 years playing basketball, being a part of ASB, and I really enjoyed it there. And then obviously didn't go very far for college, and there's a reason why. I think it's a great place. There's certainly a sense of community here, which I think might be more difficult to find in other places, which is another main factor about why I kind of wanted to stay around here and wanted to coach at Redlands High School specifically. That's definitely true. I get teased about that a lot. So thanks for bringing that up again.
I hope your friends have fun with this then, with this interview.
They will.
Well, Coach Sponheim, this edition of Terriers basketball under your leadership, what's it going to look like? Do you like to play fast? Do you use all the shot clock? Like, how would you kind of describe the brand of basketball you want the Terriers to play?
Yeah, it's a great question. First and foremost, I played in a bunch of different systems. In high school, we kind of did some up-tempo stuff under Coach Berry and Coach Glass. And then when I went to the University of Redlands, it was almost the polar opposite, where it was half court, all half court sets, and just taking our time scoring, really valuing the possession of the ball. So I feel like I've seen both. And to be honest with you, I think it depends on the personnel. We'll probably mix things up year by year basis. Right now, I'm excited about our young talent and our returning guys. We have some really talented players on the freshman team and also on the JV team, and they're now going to be varsity players. and we have some eighth graders that are supposed to be pretty good, I've heard, that are coming in. And so, yeah, it's really going to depend on the personnel. We have actually our first summer practice tomorrow night, Tuesday night. And so once I kind of see that and kind of see what I got, then there's a million different ways you can go. Right now, I'm thinking a lot of dribble handoffs, a lot of backdoor actions, because I've realized as an assistant coach the last few years that we get pressured a lot. There's a lot of man-to-man defense getting pressured up near half court, and trying to find counters to kind of work through that stuff has kind of been our Achilles heel at RHS for the last few years or so. So that's something that I can think of immediately that I would like to change. But it's really going to depend on a year-to-year basis, depending on who I got.
Well, speaking of the the CBL and RHS trying to find their way through the CBL, you said the last couple of years they're trying to, the Terriers trying to find their footing again, I guess you could say, in league play. I mean, it just got, even more difficult with, Beaumont being added to league play a couple of seasons ago. Ukaipa's tough. Rev is always tough. Cajon's had some really good teams.
Right.
What do you think it's going to take to compete? Maybe win a league title, or at least maybe finish in the top three and try to get to the postseason again.
Yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, the last time we won CBL championship was when I was playing in 2015 when I was a senior. So the goal is to get back to that, right? I think we've been competitive the last several years. We've lost a lot of close games, which has been frustrating, and we're always just super close to getting into the playoffs. And so, yeah, in terms of CBL, yes, you said it correctly. Cajon's always solid. Rev's always solid. CV's got some really young talent. And then, of course, Beaumont as well has grown and become a really, really powerhouse in CBL and all sports, really.
Yeah.
And then Ukaipa's got some returning players that were pretty dominant last year. So, we're gonna be competitive. We're gonna be fighting. We're gonna be in the mix. What it takes to get back to the top is it'll take some time to kind of build some consistency in the program, kind of change the culture a little bit. I've kind of put together a little bit of a coaching staff, and we've had a couple of coaches meetings already. And we've talked about several different things. And on paper, the coaching meeting was supposed to last about an hour and a half, and it lasted 3 hours, just going through all the things that we needed to change. And we wanted to see improvement on a year-to-year basis, not just from the previous coach to me, but just how we're going to grow in a few years. So yeah, it's going to take some time. We're going to be competitive. We're going to be in the mix. I'm excited about our young talent and our returning guys, and we're going to go out there and play hard every day. I know that.
Coach, here we are. It's, the month of May, and people are probably thinking, oh, basketball season, that is like way off,
Right.
way off in the distance. But do you feel any sense of urgency? Like you said, you're going to start, working out with your team, and, I don't know if you do summer leagues or anything like that, but do you feel like, okay, we need to get this going right now because basketball season, even though it seems like it's far away, but do you feel like that urgency, like, hey, we need to start improving now?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there is a sense of urgency with the program in terms of the coaches, kind of alluding to what I mentioned. Yeah, that coaches meeting, we're like, man, we gotta get going right now. So yeah, we're in some summer leagues. We're up in Big Bear, the first week of June or first weekend of June, which is coming up quickly.
Yeah.
And we're in some local stuff as well. So yeah, we're gonna work through that kind of stuff. There, we were left a pretty good situation by Coy Glass and his kind of reign there for the last several years, and before him, Ted Berry. We were left some money in the booster club, and we had some good relationships with parents and that sort of thing. So I'm really inheriting a pretty good situation as it comes to that. We were able to order new jerseys this year. So there's going to be some things that we can kind of get the program and the school excited about. And so I think that will help. But in terms of the summer, like you said, I know it's May. But there's a sense of urgency for sure. We're going to be busy all throughout the month of June, practices, games, different leagues, like I mentioned. And then we have, our dead period near the end of June, and I think the first week of July. But we're going to pick it right back up again in July and August. So Yeah, it's been overwhelming as a young guy, 27, kind of coming into this, but it's exactly what I want, and I'm learning as I go, and I'm excited to get to the X's and O's and the league games coming in a few months. Yeah, very excited about it.
Coach, let me ask you about you mentioned Coach Barry and Coach Glass as well. Taking the reins from those two guys. I know you played for Coach Barry and Coach Glass was there most recently. Does it help taking over the program, knowing like where they were the last 10 years or so, because you played for Coach Barry, you played for Coach Glass, you know like where the strengths are, just like with the kids on campus, and like how do you raise money at, with the boosters and all those sorts of things? Are those like guys you can still lean on, and does it help that you played for them or coached with them?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if Corey Glass or Ted Berry will watch this, but if they do, they'll know that I've been bugging them, especially Coach Glass. I've been kind of relying on him pretty heavily, and they're both on campus, and so yeah, no, I've been relying on them big time, and I've reached out to some coaches of the past too. Before Ted Berry, it was Brad Scott, who was very successful for about 10 years as the RHS basketball coach. I sat down with him and had like a 3-hour meeting going over different things. So yeah, no, to your point, it's been great. It's been a privilege that I can rely on that. I know not every young guy or not every coach kind of coming in has that. And so, yeah, and I can't speak highly enough about Coach Glass. He's retiring this year, so quick shout out. I mean, he's been there for 35 plus years, coaching for that entire time. He coached me when I was in the third grade, so he's certainly a legend there at Redlands High School, and Ted Berry as well. Someone who I played with and played for, and yeah, no. So it's an honor to kind of feel to be that next person in line, and yeah, no, I've been very reliant on them. Absolutely.
So when people ask, because my full disclosure, my wife is a Terrier. She went to Redlands High School. When people on the outside say, "Well, what's the long blue line?" This is it. I mean, Coach Glass to Coach Sponheim, like this is the long blue line, right?
Absolutely. There's connections everywhere on that long blue line, and it's something we all value. That's for sure.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the new gig. It sounds like this is the perfect fit. It was destiny, right, for you to come in there and take over the varsity boys program. So congratulations, and hopefully we can do this again a little bit down the road and see what you got.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I appreciate your time.
You got it. That's Joey Sponheim. He is the new Redlands High School boys basketball coach, Terriers legend, U of R legend, taking over the program at RHS. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Inland Sports.